What a wacky week it has been in the world of professional wrestling, and how fitting, how quaint that the Hit the Ropes radio crew is broadcasting in the midst of all of this craziness going on in the world of professional wrestling. It is Wednesday night. It is October 5th, 2016, and it is indeed Hit the Ropes radio. Demetrius Stokes here with you, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Wikipedia himself, Darius Brown, who, you guys got to give it up for Darius. This man is in the midst of trying to evacuate from the hurricane, tropical storm Matthew that is coming through Florida. This man loves you guys so much that he is risking his life to broadcast tonight. Darius, man, you need to be getting out of here.
I need to go, but they say the show must go on, Stokes. At least that's what the higher ups tell me. It's in my contract. I'm like a weatherman.com news reporter. I gotta be here even in the midst of the worst hurricane in the last decade, as Fox News has called it.
Good grief, man. Well, as always, we hope that everybody out there, and including you, Darius, everybody out there who's listening, who's in the path of the hurricane, the tropical storm, man, we hope you guys stay safe, get somewhere, get some shelter, so that you and your families are safe and sound. But speaking of hurricanes and storms, quite the storms brewing in the world of professional wrestling this week. Which is why it's such a great time to be broadcasting tonight to discuss some of these things. Darius, man, I mean, there's been some news breaking. It's seemingly like every day for like the last 3 days. And I think maybe the biggest news is TNA. There are rumors surfacing that TNA, their video library has been sold to WWE. And the Lord, I'm getting tongue tied. The library has been sold to WWE, and that Billy Corgan, the current president of TNA, is going to become the majority owner and rebrand the company. This is the news that has been surfacing. Nothing has been confirmed yet, but Darius, what do you think about all of this this craziness going on?
Well, we don't know what to believe. There's reports coming, and as you put out, or I think Shane actually put out, Bob Ryder is from a TNA exec. He is denying it, but they deny everything. Every single time there's a rumor, he denies it, and he denies it with a little bit of a nasty attitude. So I don't know what to believe. I would imagine if the WWE is coming into purchase, we all know that the video library is the most important. What it's weird that they would continue to allow someone else to run the talent and create a new brand from that. So that's kind of weird for me. Whether they want to use those guys or not, it's still weird that they won't put a no complete and freeze that out.
Yeah, it is interesting, man. I think what we're looking at here is probably just a situation where, they probably made some type of deal, they being the powers that be currently at TNA. They had to make some type of deal where they said, hey, look, we'll give you guys the video library. We won't use the name TNA anymore, but at least let us keep our talent. Let us rebrand, rename the company and go from there. But no confirmation from anyone yet, but multiple sources are reporting that this is the word. So we will keep our eye on things and see how it progresses. Of course, TNA content may be coming soon to the WWE network, and it'll be interesting to see, man. I guess WWE has this monopoly, it seems, on professional wrestling, and I know there are other options out there. There's Lucha Underground, there's ROH and things, but it would be great to see some of these companies, man, like come together, like, or something, and band like a super company or something, just to to compete because, wrestling was better, man, when there was a second option out there. When WCW and WWE were in the midst of the Monday Night Wars, those were the best times. That was the golden era, if you will, of professional wrestling. And I think we do need, a number two, man, a legitimate number two. I don't know that TNA ever was that legitimate number two. I think they tried too hard to be like WWE. I know you often called it WWE light. So I think there needs to be, man, at some point a legitimate number two out there. What do you think?
Absolutely. And there's so many different options that just either have no desire or don't quite know how to put it together to get to a legit number two. ROH, they made that big transition from HDNet over to Sinclair Broadcasting. You thought with all the money and the power that they would leapfrog TNA. That was my initial thought when they made that purchase. And it just didn't happen. The quality actually went down. They went from being on the HDNet, which was a vivid show from the graphics to the lighting, to dim, dark, bingo hall-esque, and then with the mixture of ROH talent going to WWE NXT, they're way below Impact Wrestling now. So who's going to be out there? We've got Jeff Jarrett, GFW, but I don't know what's happening with that. We see him performing at baseball shows and whatnot. So, where is the number two? I don't know. Maybe Billy with that purchase can be that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that has to happen, they have to get some type of major TV deal. I think that's been probably the biggest, hindrance in there being a legit number two. When TNA was on Spike, that was good, but it's not, Spike's not USA. I mean, USA is in practically every home that has, some type of cable outlet. Spike, is not, although Spike is, somewhat somewhat legitimate. So, but now moving to Pop and moving to channels like that where, the reach isn't as large, I think ultimately what we need to see, if there's going to be a legitimate number two promotion in the world of professional wrestling, they have to have some type of big major, television deal where they can be seen on, if they can be seen on as broad of a range as WWE. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep everyone posted on things. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter, on Facebook. Anytime there's any happenings or news in the world of professional wrestling, you can come to the crew at Hit the Ropes Radio, and we will have it for you. So on tap today, in addition to the TNA talk that you just heard, we're going to give you, of course, our 3 stars for the week. We're going to give you some takeaways. Darius and I actually are also going to provide some apologies. We feel like we need to say sorry to some folks in the world of professional wrestling. So we're going to give you some apologies. And of course, we're going to discuss the case of Halle Berry versus the Naitch, Ric Flair. Ric Flair has literally kissed and told. And we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight as well. But first, Darius, go ahead. Let's get started with 3 stars. Give us your first star of the week. Who has been a shining star, a beacon in the world of professional wrestling this week in your eyes?
All right. So my first shining star, this comes as a bit of surprise for me that I'm giving this away, because if you have tuned in, I guess over the course of the last week or so, all the way back to the Clash of Champions, I was not a fan of what was going down. But with that same thought process, I still got to show respect, and that star is Matt Hardy.
No.
I don't get it. I don't understand it, but I have to respect it. Matt Hardy, and all the craziness of delete, decay, and everything in between. He's set the internet on fire, whether for good or for bad. So with that, I don't like it, but I got to give my props. Matt Hardy is doing this thing.
Yeah. Matt Hardy is interesting to say the least. You're still a little bit of my thunder, man. When we get to the apology segment, I'll say a little bit more. But yeah, Matt Hardy, man. I mean, hey, he's doing his thing in the most unique way, and like you said, it's weird to me too, but people dig it, man. So your first star of the night is Matt Hardy. Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to give you my first star of the evening, and my first star goes to The Miz. I have never been a huge fan of The Miz. I respect his hustle, man. I respect where he came from. You know, he was prophetic in many ways, predicting even back when he was on MTV that he would make it to the WWE, and that he did. And who would have thought that he would ascend to the world championship and become champion? And he was probably at his hottest at that point. But after he lost that belt, man, he kind of fizzled out. He kind of held some of the mid card titles, the U.S. title, the Intercontinental title, things of that nature. But he wasn't really popping. He wasn't really a guy who you had to see. But really, since this brand extension, since he has moved to SmackDown, he has been money, man. I know Shane has been singing his praises on past episodes, and I'm going to sing his praises this week. I think it started with that promo on Talking Smack, and he has just rolled that momentum to some very good promos, some very good TV. I thought his segment with Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown this week, where he brings back the Spirit Squad, kind of does, a segment reminiscent of The Rock and Mick Foley's, the whole "This Is Your Life" thing, except Miz is obviously playing the role of the heel. But to bring back the Spirit Squad and to use them against Dolph, he's just been doing some really clever things, and it'll be interesting to see what happens this Sunday at No Mercy, because I know a lot of people have been calling for him not to drop the Intercontinental title. But I guess if he doesn't, that means that we have seen the last of Dolph Ziggler. So it'll be interesting to see what takes place. But I'm going to give my first star to The Miz. Again, he's been money, man, and I got to give him his props. So my first star to The Miz. Well, we want to quickly thank those of you that are listening to us live tonight on YouTube Live. Thanks so much for joining us. Those folks that are in the chat room chopping it up, we appreciate you guys in there. I see Shane is in there. He has the night off, but of course he's chatting because he has nothing better to do. I see Hot Dogs in there, so appreciate you guys that are in the chat room with us tonight, and appreciate you guys that are going to be listening to the podcast here in the coming days. Darius, I know we have some things going on as far as outlets that we can be downloaded on, and just give the people a little bit of information about that.
Absolutely. And if you go to our social media feed, per se, Twitter at Hit the Ropes, you'll be able to see their pin there. But you can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Google Play. You can find us just about anywhere wrestling podcasts can be found. So make sure you just tune in. We're even on SoundCloud. I mean, if you can download it from a podcast, you'll find Hit the Ropes. So just use those keywords. And we thank you for sharing. And most importantly, on iTunes, that 5-star. Can we beg for a little cheap love in the iTunes department so we can get in front of more and more and more people, and then that'll bring bigger and bigger guests. So give us that 5-star review on iTunes. We only ask because it'll allow us to help you. So help us help you, something like that.
Yeah, man. I was at the going to the bank, man, and here in the D, man, when you there's certain establishments where you got the hustle guys out with the bootleg movies and DVDs, man. And I think he had a bootleg episode of episode 302 of Hit the Ropes, man. So we're everywhere, as Darius said, everywhere you can download a podcast. We're there, man. So we appreciate the support. Again, give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to us on iTunes as well, or any of those other outlets, Google Play, Stitcher. We're a little bit of everywhere, man. We're trying to invade all of your mobile devices here at Hit the Ropes Radios. Definitely. So moving on. So we talked a little TNA. And they had Bound for Glory this past weekend. This is their, for lack of a better term, their WrestleMania, the biggest pay-per-view of the year for TNA, and it might be the last, as we know it, of what was once TNA. Darius, do you have any thoughts on what you saw for Bound for Glory? Any standout matches? Any standout performers from the night?
Thoughts about what I saw. I'm not really sure what I saw, to be honest. That goes back to that whole Matt Hardy thing. They apparently pre-taped some segments for that Delete versus Decay bout. And but the thing is, they make you decide, do you love it or do you hate it? You can't be indifferent to what they're doing right now. And that's all that really matters. So from the Matt Hardy and the Abyss segment, fantastic in that regard. The other big, well, there's a couple points, but the next big point I would say is the weird UFC / old European bout that they have. They have named this the Impact Grand Champion, where they are doing 3-minute rounds or something like that, 3-minute rounds, and people are confused because they don't know if it's an MMA bout. There's referees judging it. I don't know, because in Europe, the old time, especially England, they used to do rounds. If you watch any of William Regal's old stuff, you might find him doing matches that have rounds. So I don't know. I didn't see the genesis of the project, but seeing it is weird because it's different. And because there's judges there, they messed up with the scoring. They put that that Eddie Edwards won by unanimous decision, but it was a split decision. So there's all kind of funky things that made things confusing. And I love the look of the belt, but the actual execution of the matches in the rounds, probably not for me.
Yeah, I just don't get how you can have wrestling, in case people don't know, it's scripted. Surprise. But I just don't see how you can have scripted matches and then have rounds. I mean, I guess the rounds can be predetermined, sure, but it just doesn't flow well for me personally. I was totally turned off by that. I did see that. And then secondly, Aaron Rex is about as entertaining as watching paint dry. He needs to, I know he can't use Damian Sandow, but he needs to resurrect some version of that. But I know it wasn't the intended match. I think Drew Galloway was supposed to be in that match, but he's injured, so they replaced him. But even still, I just didn't, the whole pay-per-view itself just didn't flow well for me. It says something about a pay-per-view being in various locations. With WWE, their pay-per-views are always somewhere different, a different city, different location. But with TNA, everything, obviously with money and things like that, I guess it has to be, but everything's in the Impact Zone. And so to me, it just seemed like a more glorified episode of Impact, to be honest. So, overall, I probably would give the show maybe a C-, and I'm probably being generous there. The Lashley EC3 match was all right. The spear from the top rope by Lashley, was a good way to end that one. I was just totally confused by the Delete versus Decay match. I didn't know what the heck was going on, but I know people like that match. So, overall, man, I just hope that TNA, whatever they'll be called going into the future, can stay afloat and maybe get some wrestling minds in there that can kind of resurrect some things because they seem to kind of be flying by the seat of their pants. I honestly did not enjoy, and I actually watched, but I did not enjoy Bound for Glory. So there it is. So um, yeah, so we both, I think, collectively gave the show a thumbs down. Before we move on to our Can I Apologize segment, which I think people are going to enjoy. That's going to be fun. I'm going to give you guys my second star of the day and then or the week, and then we'll get Darius's second star. I'm going to give my second star to a segment on Monday Night Raw, and that was the segment between The New Day and Jericho. A couple weeks ago we were on the show and we were talking about how the New Day is kind of hit or miss. Like their promos are either really good or they're failed attempts at comedy that kind of just fall a little bit short. And I really thought this week the chemistry that they have with Owens and Jericho was really, really good. Jericho's like on fire right now. He's kind of up there with The Miz for me as just a guy who has done a really good job to resurrect his career, if you will. But the promo was really good. I mean, Kevin Owens, talking about how they were trying to, poison kids with shady cereal, and how several years ago the New Day jumped the shark, and then of course New Day counters with the joke that they don't even swim, of course, alluding to the fact that brothers don't swim. So it was some really funny stuff there. And then I think it was Xavier Woods who told Kevin Owens, when is the last time you ever jumped over anything? So it was just really, really good chemistry, really funny stuff. I thought it was a great segment. So I give my second star to the segment involving the New Day and Jericho. I thought it was really, really good.
I agree. Totally agree. Um, my next star has to go to Team WWE because I don't know the individuals who are running WWE.com, but I just got to give it up to them for promoting Total Bella so heavily. I mean, it's the okay. Wait, that would have been the gunshot of the day. Why are we seeing that? Why? I don't want to see all Total Bellas on everything. I don't go to WWE.com often, but I don't want to see that. Leave that to E, man. I know it's your show, but stop. No.
Wait, is this a star or is this? Sounds like you're bashing it. Sounds like it's a falling star, if anything.
That's true. They get my fallen star. I like it. No, I got to give it up to I guess Triple H and the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. It's not. I thought that it would probably be a one-off thing and then be done, but this is a great way to remember a legend. It's back. I think it's interesting. They're putting all kinds of teams together that maybe you wouldn't have thought. It's really reminiscent. I'm trying to think of the WCW tournament. I don't know if that is where this comes from, but they used to, the Crockett Cup. They used to have all different types of tag teams, some that are legit tag teams, some that are super tag teams, come together for the Crockett Cup. And I don't know if that was a Dusty invention, and I don't know if that is the origins of the new Dusty tournament. But I love the tournament. I love how it's able to feature new guys. We got some reports that some indie guys will be coming in. So, the whole team of WWE, whoever came up with this classic cup, I got to throw my second star to them.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. I actually saw a little bit of that tonight on NXT. I think it was the Revival versus was it CN Almas? Am I saying that right? Is that his name?
Sure.
And Cedric Alexander, and I think CN actually turned on Cedric Alexander after they lost to the Revival. So it's
Spoiler
also
alert.
I know, spoiler alert. Sorry, guys, but NXT just went off, so you catch it on the network. My bad if I spoiled that for anyone, um, but it's also a good way, like you said, to give some exposure to some guys who wouldn't normally get it. It's a good way to build new feuds. Like if a team doesn't work out, like we saw tonight, you can establish a feud with two guys turning on each other. They teamed up. Was it Rick Swan, the black dude with the bad hair that dances really bad, the cruiserweight? They matched him up with No Way Jose, and that promo was brutal. Oh my god, they did like a promo and they were like dancing and doing their thing, and I'm like, oh man, I hope they lose. I hope they get eliminated in the first round because I never want to see that again. But it is what it is. But yeah, man, Dusty Rhodes Classic, like you said, I thought it was a one-off thing too. Glad to see that they are. This seems like it's going to be an annual thing because I think it's a really cool thing to honor and pay homage to the great Dusty Rhodes. All right, Darius, we've teased it a little bit. I know you're excited about this next segment. This segment is called Can I Apologize? And this is a segment where we're going to just, be honest. We're going to open up our hearts and we're going to apologize to some people in the professional wrestling. And I don't know if you hear that glorious music in the background. Can you hear that, Darius? So we're going to go ahead and get started here with Can I Apologize? Darius, would you like to start us off?
Yes. I have an apology. I owe one man an apology because about a month ago, I wrote a tweet. Now, this is not a tweet that I normally put out, but I had some questions on my mind. I needed to know why Ryback was summoning the powers of the Ultimate Warrior. First, it was the singlet. Then he changed his name to protect his gimmick. And I tweeted that out to Ryback, and apparently Ryback didn't like it. He gave me my first block. He blocked me off Twitter. I obviously hurt his feelings. So Ryback, if you're listening, brother, I owe you an apology. I'm so sorry for calling you out for wearing the singlet. I'm so sorry for making fun of the way that you somehow grasp the power of positivity in everything that you do. And I do apologize for questioning you, for changing your name, believing in your gimmick so much that you had to change your name in real life to Ryback. I apologize that forced you to put the block button, and I've hurt your feelings. So from my heart to yours, please accept my sincere apology.
Man, I felt that. I felt that right here, man. I felt that, man. Well, I have an apology as well, Darius, and I want to apologize to Broken Matt Hardy. A couple of weeks ago on Hit the Ropes, I said that I hate, and I quote, I said that I hate the Broken Matt Hardy gimmick. And Matt, today I just want to tell you, man, that it was for lack of understanding. I didn't know the full history of why you were broken, man. So I went back on YouTube and various other channels and watched. And I'm able today to say that I don't hate you, Broken Matt Hardy, but I heavily dislike the gimmick. It's a difference, man. I don't hate you. I've downgraded that hate to a heavy dislike because I respect you, Matt Hardy. I respect you because it is rare in the world of professional wrestling that a man can reach the pinnacle, the height of popularity as the Hardys have, but yet come back after taking a bit of a fall and reinvent themselves. And you've done that, Matt Hardy, like The Miz, like Chris Jericho. You have reinvented yourself, and I can't hate you for that. I can heavily dislike you, but I can't hate you. So, Matt Hardy, broken Matt Hardy, I apologize to you. Hopefully, what you can do is help your brother reinvent himself because that Willow stuff is whack. Man, I just felt that. Man, that felt so good, man. I got
Don't
that
you
off
feel
my
better?
chest. I feel so much better, man. Like to get that off of my chest, man, and just, let Matt know that, man, I respect him. I had to put some respect on his name. But
That's good.
but
That's
yeah,
good.
man. So yeah, so we wanted to just get those things off of our chest. Apologize to some people that we hurt, man, and hopefully one day, Matt Hardy's been on this show before, so hopefully one day you and Ryback could come at the table together as brothers and shake hands and squash the beef that you have with the big guy.
There's an open invitation for the big guys, you call them, to come on. I mean, I feel so much better. I wish he was sitting right here in the co-host studio right now, so I could, so he could have heard that face to face. But I'm sure this will get back to him. I'm sure the big guy. I hope he accepts my apology and we can wait. Ooh, I'm reading in the chat room one Courtney Mack saying one thing that there's not an apology there, that we need to apologize for that whack apology. I don't know who he's referring to.
He's a hater. Courtney's a
Okay.
hater, so I'm sure he's referring to me. Whatever, McIntosh. I was being sincere. That was from the heart.
From
You
the
know,
heart.
from the heart, man. I apologize to Broken Matt Hardy. So, haters are my motivators. I'm going to ignore that guy in the chat room, man. But yeah, man, I just feel so much better. I feel like the show is just going to flow so much better after we got those apologies
I feel
off
great.
of our chest, man. I feel so good, man. But give us your third star, man. Since you're feeling great, you're feeling good, you
Woo.
apologize to Ryback. Give us your third star of the week, Dares.
Man, I'm feeling so good. I might give it to myself, but I won't. I won't do that. I feel like that was a Ric Flair moment. If you ever heard the Ric Flair podcast, he plays a clip from, I don't know, the 80s or 90s. He's like, "Give me a moment to talk about myself," or something like that. It's hilarious, but
It's not a surprise.
not a surprise at all. But my third star goes to the NXT crowd once again, but this one goes to one man, Samoa Joe. They put him back on the warpath. He is brutalizing people on the NXT roster until he gets his belt or gets his hand on the champ, Nakamura. So that's the way it's got to be with Samoa Joe. You got to let that killer out. You got to unleash the beast. So we are all, I would say we are all, I'll invite everybody into this comment. We are all waiting to see Joe versus Lesnar. That has to happen. That has to happen. So to do that, you got to build that killer back up. And they're doing that in preparations for his ascension to the WWE main roster and WrestleMania. Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar. I'm loving it.
Whoa. You heard it here first, folks. That is a very, very, very bold prediction. Not saying that Joe's not deserving or that Joe can't do it, but man, you're talking about him leapfrogging a lot of people between now and WrestleMania to get to the point where he is going to enter a feud with Brock Lesnar. That's interesting, man. I do like the whole, bringing back the quote unquote Joe's gonna kill you Samoa Joe, where he's just out there wrecking shop doing his thing. So I definitely can appreciate that. But wow, Brock Lesnar at Mania, man. I don't know. Good thing we got these things on video and recorded, because we might have to play this back once you're eating crow come Mania time. But I'm gonna give my third star to the women's division. I'm going to give it to specifically the women's championship match, the Raw women's championship match that took place on Monday Night Raw between Sasha Banks and seemingly every HTR host's favorite woman, except for Stokes, Charlotte. Uh, Shane loves her. Darius loves her. Courtney loves her. She's the greatest thing that has ever happened to professional wrestling. But I'm going to give my third star to those two ladies. They had a great match, phenomenal match. They are building up. I think Michael Cole said this, and I disagree with him, but I understand the sentiment where he was saying that the rivalry was one of the best rivalries in the WWE in the last 5 years. I guess I would have to examine that a little bit more, assess that a little bit more. It has been a great rivalry. It is a great rivalry. I don't know if it's one of the greatest. Definitely amongst the women's division, it is definitely up there with, your Litas and your Trish Stratus rivalries, things of that nature. So, they had a great match, man. They did their thing. Congratulations to Sasha Banks. She is your new Raw Women's Champion. I kind of figured it was going to happen. I kind of figured the title change was going to happen. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Obviously, they probably will have one more match. It would be great if they put the women inside Hell in a Cell. If they put Charlotte and Sasha Banks in Hell in a Cell, which I could see them doing, that would be awesome, because I don't know that there's ever been a women's match inside of Hell in a Cell. So I'm really, really hoping that for Hell in a Cell that they do that.
That would be crazy. I agree. That would be awesome. I would love to see them, because they have taken women's wrestling where it hasn't gone before. In terms of popularity, we've seen the Lita versus Trish at the main event, so we have seen that. But the popularity, I don't even remember during that time that it was a big deal that they were the first. Obviously, looking back at it, and we can see that. But it seems like that immediate respect of them being the final bout, and they played it up all through the night to give it the proper height, and to have them finish it off in the Hell in a Cell. That's supposed to be a send-off. That's supposed to be the ender of all things feuds. We know that's not going to be a forever end, but that is a good way to transition to the next thing. So I would love to see that.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see if they go that route. I mean, they might as well, right? There's no more blood or anything like that in the Hell in the Cell matches. So essentially all it is a glorified prop. So why not put the ladies in there? Why not throw them in there? Let them go to work. You're going to get a great match. I would love to see a Bayley turn, although we probably won't. She's just coming up to the main roster. She's really, really popular. She's probably a good, or will be at least, a good merchandise seller. So they probably won't turn her, but it would be great to see, the best friends, Sasha and Bayley kind of going at it with Bayley actually turning. I think a lot of people would expect Sasha to make the turn, because they did that, obviously in NXT, Sasha was a heel, Bayley was the face. But it would be interesting to see it on the flip side. But Bayley's kind of clean cut, very, very popular with the kiddies. So doubt we would see that anytime soon. So thank you guys again, man, for tuning in to Hit the Ropes Radio. This is episode 303. I don't think I said that yet this evening. Episode 303 of the world famous Hit the Ropes Radio show. You talked about, Darius, Samoa Joe fighting Brock Lesnar, but it seems like Brock Lesnar has a opponent on the horizon, and that opponent is none other than Goldberg. Rumors have been swirling. Like we said, it's been a crazy week in the world of wrestling. Rumors have been swirling that Goldberg has tentatively agreed to sign with WWE, and they are eyeing a Survivor Series match between Goldberg and one Brock Lesnar. A rematch of their WrestleMania match from 2004, I think it was, where Goldberg went over. He won the match. So we're going to get finally here some 12 years later, the rematch. What are your thoughts? Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar.
Well, that match was so great. We just had to see it again, right? I mean, it was. Did Dave Meltzer give it a 5 stars? Maybe he gave it 10 stars. I mean, come on. I mean, it's good to see Goldberg back. I guess. I mean, it's meant to. When's it coming out? Survivor Series. What else comes? Is the WWE game coming out? I know traditionally it releases in November.
No, I actually think that it comes out. If I'm not mistaken, it comes out in a week or so. I think it comes out this month.
Okay. Well, how appropriate that the buzz starts coming right when the game comes out. And who are the 2 featured stars of this game? Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg. It is not a coincidence. That should help sell some more copies, if not the initial push, the secondary push. But I mean, Goldberg's a star, even though he's 67 years old, maybe 68, maybe 72. I don't know. He's
49. Someone asked me that today. How old is Goldberg? I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, "Yeah, man, did you hear Goldberg's coming back?" And he's like, "Man, how old is that guy?" He's 49.
Okay, he'll be 49.
He'll be 50 in December. I only know this because I looked at your website, Wikipedia. So he's going to be 50 this year. Which isn't old in wrestling age, right? 50 is.
It's not old, but when you were so limited in your peak 15 years ago, I know he's in great physical shape. He was teasing a kickboxing debut as recent as this past year, so he's in phenomenal shape. But a one and done, I don't have a problem with it. I like the nostalgia route. I love when WWE brings it back, so it'll be interesting. I'm not going to, buy the pay-per-view, as we used to say, because of it. But hopefully, we know it can hurt. We saw him at WrestleMania, but hopefully it's not going to hurt the pay-per-view by having it on.
No, I think, like you said, the nostalgia of seeing Goldberg back in a WWE ring after so long, I think people will be intrigued by that. Hot Dog in the chat room was saying that he's wondering if Brock will go over or if Goldberg will become the guy that Brock can't beat. And that's an interesting question because I feel like they have to build somebody up that you at least think can reasonably defeat Brock Lesnar, which is why Goldberg makes so much sense. I mean, he's a big dude. He's probably not about as close to comparable in size to Brock Lesnar as you can get. But he's somebody that you could actually believe could actually beat Brock Lesnar. One, because he actually did it before, although it was 12 years ago, but he did it before. And just 2, because Goldberg is, he's a big, mean machine. So, I'm interested in it for the nostalgia factor. Shane's in the chat room saying he didn't care about the first match. So he doesn't care about this one too much. He also says Brock better win because he's staying past the one match. I don't know that this deal with Goldberg is going to be just a one match deal. I wouldn't imagine they would not want him to be involved in like the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I would think that the deal would probably go at least through WrestleMania season, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, that would make sense to me. And by then you could even do this a best of 3, which is, kind of cliche. But they could put Goldberg over first, Brock at the Rumble, and then maybe at Mania. But I hope that they don't stretch this out to 3 matches. Maybe Goldberg can then go give somebody else, the rub, as we say, and can maybe get over for a younger star and in the process as well. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see how it all pans out, and it does beg the question, who is out there that WWE could actually build that could legitimately beat Brock Lesnar. I mean, I guess he hasn't crossed paths with Roman Reigns yet. Roman Reigns might be, a feasible opponent for him.
What?
Do you not agree with that?
They have fought.
Did they fight?
2015 WrestleMania, right?
Brock and Reigns? Oh God.
Am I? Yes, I'm pretty sure. Yes. Yeah, May 3rd, 2015, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar.
Oh, yes, of course, when Shane Rollins cashed in, right? Oh, okay, yes.
Yeah,
I forgot. My bad. But
that's all right. We all try and block out most of Roman Reigns and what he does. That was actually a good match, though. So you should. That was like his best match ever, and you just made it not exist.
But here's the thing, man. Look, I don't hate Roman Reigns. I don't dislike Roman Reigns. I mean, come on, John Cena's been doing his thing in WWE for how long with a very limited skill set, and Roman.
That's not.
Oh, come on! He's been doing his thing for years with a limited skill set, and Roman Reigns probably has the same, if not a little more, in his toolbox. I don't understand the hate for Roman Reigns. I don't dislike the guy.
No.
I think he's fine, man. I think, obviously he's suffering from the same thing Cena suffered from, where people are just tired of WWE trying to push him down their throats, so they start booing him and things of that nature. But I think he's having a great feud with Rusev. That was going to be a takeaway for me tonight, that I thought that the feud between Reigns and Rusev has been entertaining. I'm actually looking forward to their match at Hell in a Cell. I think it's been a good feud for the United States Championship, and I kind of went off on a tangent there, but I'm tired of you guys dissing Roman, man. That's my guy, so I like Roman Reigns.
He's all right.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, we're approaching the end of this episode of Hit the Ropes Radio, and we're going to get into our last segment. But before we do, there's more breaking news from the world of professional wrestling. You were talking about Total Bellas, your favorite show on E. I know that you have it DVR'd. I know you and the wife sit down and you enjoy the escapades of Brie, Nikki, Daniel, and John Cena. So I know you'll be watching the season premiere tonight, but in advance of tonight's premiere, there's been an announcement. Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan are expecting. So I think it is only right that we here at Hit the Ropes offer our congratulations to Brie and Daniel.
I guess, yes, congratulations. And we know that they have been apparently in the works. And that's
in the works. They've had a baby. They've had a baby in the works.
Well, the idea is, since you're gonna try to expose me. Maybe I have seen more than one episode of Total Divas in the past. My wife or something loves it. I don't know, but that was the storyline. That when is Sean gonna marry Nikki? When is Brie gonna have a baby? And now Brie has one. So congrats.
Look at you, man. You are a Total Divas, Total Bellas expert. Look at you, man. I haven't watched one episode of that show, man, but proud of you, man. Good job.
Apparently not, because Shane Howard is calling you out again, saying that the Total Bellas had already happened, which you would know if you went to WWE.com, where they have the results as if it is a bout, as if it was a pay-per-view, as if it was a special on the WWE network. They have Total Bellas results for 10-5. So it has already happened, Stokes. Get
Wow.
with it.
Well, I apologize to Shane and all of the great listeners of Hit the Ropes Radio. I will be more prepared next time I appear on Hit the Ropes Radio with all of my Total Bellas information, and will give you guys the scoop as it happens. Yeah, right.
As you should.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've been waiting on this segment for, about 54 minutes since we since we started doing the show. And we're going to end with this segment, and I think we're going to have some fun with this. So, we have this news that has circulated involving one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time, that being the Naitch, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Ric Flair has a podcast, for those that don't know. And on his podcast, he was asked a question from a listener via Twitter about celebrities who have, quote unquote, rode Space Mountain. And so we're going to play that soundbite for you guys. And then we're going to come back on the other side. And we're going to talk about the case of Halle versus the Naitch. But first, all right, so there it is from the mouth of Ric Flair. I know some people in the chat room were saying they didn't hear that. We apologize for any technical difficulties there, but for those that did not hear it, Ric Flair on his podcast this week announced or proclaimed that Academy Award winning actress, Halle Berry, has taken a ride on Space Mountain. So we took it to the people. We took it to the Nebula on our Twitter feed at Hit the Ropes. And we asked if you believed that the Nature Boy Ric Flair really did have a fling with Halle Berry. And 75%, overwhelmingly 75% of the people in the poll believes Ric Flair. I'm stunned. I am shocked. I cannot believe this. Darius, please tell me that you do not believe the Naitch.
This is the story as old as time. Man sees beautiful woman. Man talks to all his guy buddies and starts a rumor that maybe, just maybe, he has enough swing in his game to get that girl. That's the classic signs. And we've seen it before. We've seen it recently. I know you're up on your TMZ, Stokes.
Of course.
Yes. So what have we heard lately? Do you remember a time not so long ago where one Matt Barnes, former NBA role player, Lakers, Clippers, all kinds of things.
Wait. Why did you have to say, why couldn't you just say former NBA player? You said former NBA role player. You have to just point out that he came off the bench.
Okay.
Come on, man. Come on.
Let me rewind. I believe he is a NBA champion, Matt Barnes.
And he also beat up Derek Fisher, but I digress. Go ahead.
Derek Fisher. So this guy's got mad game in many different areas. He claimed to be having some kind of fling relationship with one superstar Rihanna. What was Rihanna's response after the news leaked that Matt Barnes may or may not have had relations? She said, I don't know that dude. I don't talk to that dude. I don't know why he calling my name.
Okay.
What was Halle Berry's response? Do you know what Halle Berry's response was, Stokes?
She, if I'm not mistaken, she denied it.
She denied it, and she denied even knowing him. That's right out of the PR handbook. Dismiss, discredit, and get rid. So, as Naitch said, she was coming through a divorce. She was in Atlanta. He has had his way with every woman in Atlanta. That's the way he basically put it. She was in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta. Why wouldn't have she gotten on Space Mountain?
Okay, I was in Atlanta in 2007 for WrestleMania, or 2000, whatever it was. When were we in Atlanta? 2000, whatever it was. We were there. 2011, WrestleMania 27. I was in Atlanta. You know, Halle might have been there, or somebody else might have been there. I mean, come
if the Naitch was there, you might be in trouble. Look, you may not even know the trouble you were in.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And to go back to your Rihanna Matt Barnes comparison, it is actually feasible. It is actually feasible that Matt Barnes may associate in some of the same circles that Rihanna does. We all know that basketball players love musicians and rappers and things of that nature, and musicians love basketball and going hanging out at All-Star Weekend and all those things. So it is quite possible that Rihanna and Matt Barnes could have crossed paths and could have maybe had something going on. But we're talking about, okay, let's say it was 1995. So we're talking about 20 years ago, right? Yeah. So or 20 years or so ago. So what? Ric Flair was about 60 and Halle Berry was maybe in her late 20s, right? Halle Berry's what? In her late 40s. So 20 years ago. So
30.
Okay, she would have been 30. So what are the chances that Halle Berry, she had a song, a rapper did a song about her, Halle Berry. What are the chances that Halle Berry and Ric Flair hang out in the same circles? This is a world-renowned, Academy Award-winning actress. Now, granted, in 1995, she hadn't made a huge film yet. She was in a lot of movies, but nothing that got her Oscar consideration. But still, she was a known actress. She was married to a professional baseball player at the time, David Justice. According to Ric Flair, it was after they divorced. I'm sorry, man. I just don't believe Ric Flair. I think this is fabricated. I think that it is something to increase his podcast downloads, to get him some publicity, to get him some notoriety, even though he, in wrestling circles, he already has it, but to get him some more notoriety in the public eye. Dude, I do not believe Ric Flair for 1 second. On top of that, he did like the nervous giggle after the guy was like, "Is this a real story you're telling?" And he was like, "Well, of course it is." So he does like this nervous like giggle. He sounds like he maybe had a couple shots before the podcast, so he might have been a little zooted. I don't know, but I'm not buying any of the Ric Flair, Halle Berry stuff at all.
Ouch. So I can't believe that. I mean, you calling Big Mac for being a hater. I mean, geez, they're only a 17-year difference.
Well, hey, and I'm not saying, Halle may like dudes older than her, but all I'm saying
Hello,
is
have you seen Monsters Ball?
that was a movie. She was being paid millions of dollars to act. And I don't, so that's a little different, but I just don't believe Naitch, man. I think, as Shane says in the chat room, he's styling, profiling, and lying. So we don't believe you. You need more people, Rick. We need some witnesses. We need character witnesses. We need somebody else to corroborate your
Wait a
story.
minute,
I
wait a
don't
minute,
believe you.
wait a minute, wait a minute. How are we going to have somebody? Was this Hogan and his best friend with the cameras in the room?
Well, okay.
Who's gonna be there?
Okay, not anybody to corroborate the actual act. We need somebody to say, "Hey, I was there when Ric Flair and Halle Berry met. I was there when they conversed, pre-bedroom. I was there before it went down." So, we need somebody else. Dusty Rhodes was still living then. Was Dusty with him? Was Arn Anderson around? Was Tully Blanchard anywhere? Where were the Four Horsemen? Were the Four Horsemen anywhere around before Rick and Halle got it on? Because I'm really not believing you, Flair. I'm just not, bruh.
Tully's a saved man now. He's not going near this story. He's staying out of this thing.
Yes, Tully has found God. Good for Tully Blanchard. He probably wants nothing to do with it. But I need some Four Horsemen. Where's Barry Windham? Where's the football player? The new Four Horsemen. The last edition was a football player name that was in there. God, Mongo McMichael. Where's he at? We need somebody who was around during that time to confirm Ric Flair's story, because I'm having a hard time believing, man.
Ric Flair, where's your receipt, sir?
Yeah, we need a receipt or something. We need Halle to clearly she's denying it. Her publicist already came out and said this guy is lying just for publicity. He's trying to get his podcast up there with the Stone Cold podcast. He's trying to get it up there with Hit the Ropes Radio. He's trying to compete with us. And so to do that,
9 p.m. too.
He's trying to take away, some of our listeners, because hey, none of us are coming out. Maybe Shane will come on next week and give us, story time with Shane, and he'll tell us, he'll kiss and tell. Maybe Shane, hung out with Halle Berry too. Who knows? Maybe we'll get Shane to say it so about 1 million people can listen to the Hit the Ropes Radio podcast.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. I can't stop laughing. This is freaking hilarious. Yeah. I mean, and if you go to Ric Flair's Twitter page, apparently folks are buying the Space Mountain Longest Line t-shirts right off the shelf. So
it's like Baby. It's like Birdman with the put the respect on my name. Soon as that statement came out, he went and made t-shirts. He went and made.
It is hilarious.
He went and made t-shirts. Ric Flair's capitalizing on the same thing. Hot Dog in the chat room says, "I'm looking for witnesses." I being me, Stokes, of course. "I'm looking for witnesses that Flair got with Halle Berry like a Trump supporter needs a witness that Obama was born in the U.S. Look, that's what I'm saying. But at least the President Obama got a birth certificate. He got something to show. Hey, look, I was born in Hawaii. I'm a U.S. citizen. They don't make birth certificates for the get down. So I don't know. I don't know.
You telling me there's no ticket for Space Mountain? There got to be a ticket, a hand stamp, or something.
Oh my God! Yeah, I get this. There's got to be something. Maybe the Naitch will come on and he'll come on Hit the Ropes and he'll give us a little more intel on his escapade with Halle Berry. But
20
yeah, man.
questions with the Nature Boy.
20 questions with the Naitch on the next episode of Hit the Ropes Radio. Well, we're wrapping up this episode number 303 of Hit the Ropes Radio. We want to thank you guys for listening. We hope you guys had as much fun as we did. But before we sign off, Darius, let the world know how they can keep up with the Hit the Ropes Radio crew throughout the week on our social media outlets.
Absolutely. You can find us at Hit the Ropes on Twitter and Facebook. If you're not on YouTube right now listening, you're maybe listening through Stitcher or iTunes or Google Play or SoundCloud or the many different ways you can listen to this show. We do this live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Also after every pay-per-view at Hit the Ropes Radio. So you got to add that radio show, Hit the Ropes Radio Show on YouTube. So we're everywhere. Make sure you tune in. Subscribe on Facebook. We need to get them subscribe numbers up on Facebook so you get notifications when the show's going down. Subscribe on iTunes because this is the uncut version. You'll get it a little cleaned up and a little bow on it on iTunes and all the other platforms. So make sure you rate us 5 stars and subscribe.
Absolutely, absolutely. Be sure to do all of that so you can keep up with all the happenings of Hit the Ropes Radio. Yes, sir.
Oh. I forgot one, a very important one. Shane has let me know that I missed. We are now on Instagram at Hit the Ropes Radio. So go ahead and add us on Instagram at Hit the Ropes Radio.
Oh man, we on the gram too. All right, we're on Instagram. Yeah. We're a little bit everywhere, man. But again, thank you guys so much for listening. Tonight, be sure to tune in for a special post pay-per-view episode of Hit the Ropes Radio this Sunday, immediately after No Mercy. I think we're gonna have Shane Howard. Maybe we'll have story time with Shane. Who knows? We might be able to squeeze it in for this episode. But we're going to have Shane Howard, Courtney McIntosh with Darius, not Shane. Darius and Courtney. If Darius can escape Hurricane Matthew, we'll have Darius and Courtney on giving some insight on No Mercy this Sunday. So be sure to tune in. It'll be immediately after the pay-per-view, so around 11-ish. Just a brief post show where we recap things. So tune in Sunday. Be sure to tune in back next week. Next Wednesday, we'll bring you more exciting, exhilarating, thrilling wrestling talk right here at Hit the Ropes Radio. For Demetrius Stokes and Darius Brown, we're signing off this week's episode. Peace.